Hi, Diggy. Welcome to the second episode of Impact Players. We are honored to have you here as a guest. And this is your one of the best golfers India has produced. So it's really something we're looking forward to. Some very interesting anecdotes on golf, life, and the various passions you follow.
Thank you very much for having me on the show, Ashwin. It's always a pleasure to be talking to you. And I think it's a rather tall order when you said one of the best players, because I think there are far many um, players who have achieved far more than me. So I'm humbled by your words, but it's a pleasure to be here.
Modesty is another tag we'll add to you. Anyway, so coming back, how are you spending the lockdown? How's it treating you?
Uh, Netflix. I used to watch TV earlier, but I had Netflix, but I wasn't really indulging in it as much as I am indulging it now. And House of Cards and Fauda and Ozark. So a few of the shows that I've been watching, and it's quite intriguing. I've been really. I literally sit down every evening with a huge bowl of popcorn and a drink. So I'm loving it. Yeah.
Lovely. Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Uh, m- a typical army kid's childhood is what I had. My dad was posted in various stations, and every 2.5 to 3 years we were packing our bags and moving. So, which to a lot of people comes as surprising, but I think it was very interesting. You'd make new friends, you'll go to new places. It was fantastic. And my dad, being an army man, life was very simple. There wasn't no television. I remember we didn't have a TV at home, and it was probably reading some books. Hardy Boys was something that I used to be very interested in at that time. So it was a very simple childhood as compared to what kids do today. There was no tablets. There was nothing to. There was no video games at that time. I remember. So yeah, that's how life was at that time.
So when did you move to Meerut?
Well, my father's last posting before he retired was in Meerut, and so we were in Meerut 87 onwards. We were in Meerut, and so my dad finally retired in 1990. So I had finished my schooling, my final few years of schooling I did in Meerut, and then also college as well. Although I hardly attended college because I just started playing golf and used to just go down and give my exams, and that's it. I feel that I've missed out on something called college life. So that is one regret that I have, because I've heard such great stories about kids who've gone to college and had some amazing fun. But no regrets as far as having fun is concerned, because I was playing golf and I was traveling. So I think it all evens out. You can't have it all.
True. So how did golf happen? Did golf happen first, or did your friendship with Jyoti happen first?
Because both of us were among the taller ones in the class. This was in 1988. We were told to sit right at the back. So it just so happened that he and I were sharing the same bench, and so sat together, started talking, and I used to play quite a bit of squash that time, and I used to swim a lot. So when he said that he played golf, I looked at him and I said, "My God, not even your father. Your grandfather should be playing golf. It's such an old man sport." And to which he looked at me and said, "What nonsense! You got to come and try it. It's not a old man's game at all." And but then I still did not go to the golf course. And then I think a couple of months down the line, he must have gone and played a tournament somewhere. He came to the school with a trophy, and the principal called out his name, and the principal actually went like, "Well, we are very proud that a young kid called Jyotinder Singh Randhawa is in our school, and this is what he's won." And I'm standing there and I'm thinking, yeah, damn, he's getting all the accolades and he's being called out in the assembly, and the entire school is clapping. I said, "Great, must give it a try." I mean, riding and playing squash, nobody called me on the stage or anywhere. So I said, "Okay, I'll come down to the golf course sometime." And actually, by the time I went out to the golf course, it was May of '89. So it took me good about 6, 7 months, 8 months to finally go down to the golf course. And And the first few days, I could hardly make contact with the ball, and that really hurt my ego a lot. So it was almost like, कि इसमें ऐसा क्या है that I can't do it, you know. कौन सी बहुत बड़ी बात है? But I really could not make contact with the ball. There was an apprehension in the back of my mind that I'm going to break this club. And he kept telling me, why don't you hit it down, hit it down, hit it down. So it took a bit, but finally got stung by the addiction, by the so-called addiction.
Do you remember the first time you made connection with the ball?
1 week of going down to the golf course, I could not make contact with the ball. It would just brush past it, brush above the ball. But when I finally made contact, you know, you're a cricketer, you would know when you hit that ball right at the base of the club and you get that shock in your electric shock in your hands. So it was that kind of a feeling. So which was a half top kind of a shot, and the ball went all the way along the ground. It never got in the air. So yeah, I mean, today if I do that's like an embarrassing kind of a golf shot. But at that time,
on the green.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, you better do that on the green.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. It was very interesting how I got introduced to the game. Yeah.
You remember your first round of golf? Just a friendly round. The first time you went onto the golf course to play around. Who was it with?
Actually, you know, there was this gentleman on our golf course, the honorary secretary, Mr. Bhimsen Jain. He was very strict about who gets on the golf course and who doesn't. And so I met him and I said, sir, since my dad was an army man, it was easy for him to become a member, and I was a dependent. So I got to the golf course and I said, sir, can I go and play around? He says, no, you have to know how to hit the golf ball before you actually venture out. Then I thought, yeah, there are too many bloody rules here. What nonsense. So then I started going to the golf course twice a day, morning and evening. And I would say I think I was around a handicap of 30 or 32 or something before I actually stepped on the golf course. But I had no clue what I was doing. I was going everywhere but the fairway, you know. So I think I've lost a couple of golf balls. I very categorically remember how it happened, but I'd like to forget it for sure.
What was the next step you took, Diggy? Because after you played, I'm sure you played a few months, or was it a year of just hitting golf balls and playing rounds on the course?
Coming from an army background, I was a very OG kid, as they say. OG means very smitten by the army, and I wanted to join the army, period. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to just be in my dad's shoes and just wanted to join the army. And so I thought, well, now that I've started playing a little bit of golf, keep preparing for the army and keep playing golf. So that's a good combination. And but you know, my Waterloo, my biggest hurdle in my entire academic life was mathematics, and I was worse than horrible. So I sat for a NDA exam and I could not get through it. National Defense Academy, I couldn't get through that. And then I thought, if I haven't gotten, now I might as well do my college, prepare for IMA, which is direct entry, and keep playing golf at the same time, because college would hardly go to college. I mean, there was no problem about attendance and stuff. That's Merit University for you. So yeah, then in '93 we came to the crossroads again, and I sat for the direct entry exam, which is for the Indian Military Academy, IMA. And I was also playing golf. Then again, mathematics came in the way, and I flunked the damn exam because I knew I'd clear it in physical and I'd clear it in my interview. Mathematics was and is and has been the bane. So yeah, luckily I can count the number of shots that I take on a particular hole. So
that's important. That's all that matters.
Very important. That's very important. You better get them right.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's
how it happened.
Great.
Yeah.
But then you played only one junior tournament. That's very strange for a man who's played the Asian Tour for so many years.
But so, you know, I started practicing and I started playing and playing on the golf course. I used to play a couple of these inter-club tournaments. And I remember when I had started, I was in class 12. And my dad was still serving and my mom used to teach. My sister used to go to school. And you get those preparatory leaves. I would be at home, and the moment all three of them got out of home, I would be on the golf course keep playing, keep practicing, keep doing whatever the hell on the golf course. And before everybody came back, I was back home. And then I would tell my mom, okay, listen, I've been studying since morning. Let me go back to the golf course. So I'd be back on the golf course. So that's how smitten I was with the game. And from thereafter, my first tournament that I ever played was in '91, where I actually ventured out of Meerut. I went out to play the OCM Championship in Amritsar at the Panther Golf Club. That is, if I'm not wrong, is the first tournament that Mukesh Kumar had won with a record margin as a professional, and I was of course playing as an amateur. And I remember I shot my first round was 20 over, followed by 16 over, another 16 over, and I think another 17 or 18 over. Because there were 4 or 5 players, amateurs playing, so there was no cut at that time. There was no halfway cut, and we were allowed to hack around for the next 2 rounds as well after the first and the second. And so that's when I realized, I stand nowhere, and I started working harder. So, and around the same time, I think under 21 used to be the age limit at that time for juniors. And Jyoti told me that I'm going to come and play this tournament. His father had got posted to Ahmednagar, and he was coming down from there. He was coming down to play the tournament called the British Aerospace. And so I also entered for that, and that was at Delhi Golf Club. I played that. I don't know where I finished. I think I finished 6th or 7th or something, or 8th or something. But that's the only tournament I played. And I think, like everybody complains even today, had I started earlier, would have been better. So that is one regret that I have. I wish I had started earlier.
What was the experience of playing the Delhi Golf Club like for the first time? I mean, you played it innumerable times after that.
Oh dear.
Was it daunting?
Man, I was scared. I was scared playing Delhi Golf Club with the bushes. Oh man, you could see the ball, but you couldn't get to it, leave alone play a shot. So it was very intimidating coming from a Meerut golf course, Army golf course Meerut. It was very intimidating. There you could, even if you hit it in the trees, you could chip it out either way into a parallel fairway and then play a shot above the trees or something. But here is impossible. I mean, you really had to hit it. You really had to thread the ball. And also a big difference from what how we play the game today. I mean, back in 92, 93, with that golf ball and those clubs, those golf courses were far longer than what they are today.
True.
I remember we used to play with something called the Titleist Tour Balada ball. A really hard hit 7-iron would go 150 yards, 152, 53, I remember was the maximum that I could hit it. Today, I hit my 7-iron 175 to 180 yards. So that is where technology has taken the game. So you can well imagine if you Delhi golf course is the same. There is hardly any difference in the distance. Maybe a couple of yards here and there. A couple of tees have been put into place now. But imagine playing Delhi Golf Club with the equipment that was there 30 years ago. There's a big difference from what you have today. So I think golf has become easier today than what it was earlier.
So when you compare generations, just moving away for a bit, when you compare generations, if Ali Sher's achievement in 1991 and 93, when he won 2 Indian Opens, both at the Delhi Golf Club, compared to somebody who wins a tournament at the DGC today, how do you even it out? I mean, it's considered a win regardless.
You can't even it out. For him to do it at that time, with the game not being as popular as it is today, I think it was a hell of an achievement. Because the people who I remember, he beat Brian Watts in one tournament, and I don't know who finished second. Jim Rutledge, I think, finished second in the other one. So Ali Sher, I think, was that breakaway. It was a breakaway victory, a breakaway player, I would say, who literally left everybody behind in this entire build-up of getting to the next level, I would say. Whenever there was there was only one tournament in India at that time. Indian Open used to happen in alternate years, would happen in Delhi Golf Club and in Royal Calcutta Golf Club, right? So these two courses, they would alternate every year. And so none of the Indian players, the attitude was such in India that none of the Indian players really played to win. I remember that time it used to be, कि इस साल कट बनाना है. I was an amateur. I was still an amateur that time, but I used to listen to these guys. We used to look up to them. You know, guys like Rohtas Singh, Firoz Ali, then Basad Ali, Ali Sher. They would talk about. I mean, one would overhear, "Yaar, is bar cut zarur banana hai Indian Open mein," because that was 1 week which would pay a lot of money. You know, as compared to the entire tour, it was it used to be a $200,000 tournament, if I remember correct. And the first prize was $33,000, 16.2% or 16.3%.
16.2. Yeah.
16.2. And so it is a very big ticket tournament. So even if you just about made cut, you would go home with at least $1,000 or $1,200, something like that. At that time, it was a lot of money.
That's
You know,
true.
today, of course, with the devaluation of the rupee and all that, and the inflation and stuff, the value of the money has gone down. At that time, it was like a jackpot. It was literally like what you would make the entire year. So, what Ali Sher achieved at that point in time, I think, was absolutely remarkable. Before that, Mr. Billu Sethi had done it in 1967. Was it?
Probably. But he did it as an amateur.
Yes, that's right. So he was the first breakaway professional who had, well, in '93 had 2 Indian Opens under him. So we used to call him two-timer. I remember, yeah. He in fact paved the path of a new thought process. You know, he after his win, people started thinking, yes, yeah, we can win. I mean, if Ali Sher has won, we can win it as well. So I think it was like Tiger changed the face of the game in '98 when he came and won the Masters. So I would say it was on the same lines. It was a belief that Ali Sher instilled in the professional ranks that yes, we can do it.
That's an enormous contribution to Indian golf.
Yeah,
it's changed the face of Indian golf technically.
And he deserves every bit of it.
Right. So coming back to you, from 1995 to 1999, you represented India in as an amateur, right?
Yes.
Non-stop.
Yes,
have I got the years right?
Yeah, correct. 95 was the first time I played for the flag, and then 99 was the last. Correct.
So what's your experience playing for India? What was the first time representing the country like, and what was the general experience in your performances during that period?
I never thought I would be good enough to actually make the team, but like I said, Mr. Bhimsen Jain, who used to be the honorary secretary of our golf course, God rest his soul, he would call up my dad and say कि आपका लड़का पागल हो गया है, he is here all day, वो खाता पीता भी नहीं है, पूरे दिन golf ही खेलता रहता है, उसको थोड़ा, you know, उसको make sure he takes some rest, because once the school was over, I would leave home at 4:30 in the morning, I would get back by 12 o'clock, and then used to carry my breakfast, come back, have lunch, 2:30 back on the golf course. I would only come back sundown. So that, I think, in fact, I miss that time now. I wish I would work that hard and things would be a little different, I think. But so that kept me going, and I started playing tournaments. I remember '92 was the first year that I went out and played one of these categorized tournaments, as they were called, of the Indian Golf Union, and started getting points, and finally moved up the point tally in the coming years. '95, I remember my first trip under the flag was to play the Sri Lankan amateur in Colombo, Royal Colombo Golf Club.
Okay.
Fond memories. A brilliant week that was. I was jittery, and I forgot to sign my card. I was disqualified in a particular, I think the team match I got disqualified, but luckily it was 3 best cards out of 4, so it did not matter. But that's the only time I forgot to sign. I've never forgot to sign my card thereafter. So
it may have mattered because maybe you played better than the guy who.
I don't remember that. Frankly, I don't remember that. But I was jittery. This is my first international tournament, and players were decently good, in their games. But then that, I think, was a bit of a kick point for me to. That happened in June '95, and then November '95 we went down to play the Nomura Trophy at Russley Golf and Country Club in Christchurch, New Zealand. So that's when I started getting a little bit of exposure outside the country, and I started playing a little better than what I did in the first international tournament.
Okay. And then there was the Asia Pacific Championship, right?
This
And
was
the
Asia Pacific.
This was Asia Pacific.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nomura.
And the
Nomura.
Eisenhower, you
It's
played?
called Nomura or the Asia Pacific. It's the same thing.
Okay. And Eisenhower, you played Eisenhower also twice,
I
right?
played the Eisenhower in 96 and 98. So 96 was
Okay.
in the Philippines, Manila,
Mhm.
at the Manila Southwoods Golf and Country Club. And thereafter, yeah, I remember my teammates were Amit Luthra and Harmeet Kalon and Shivan Quatra. Shivan
Okay.
Quatra was an absolute genius. A 15-year-old kid who made the team, made the seniors team. He was an absolute genius. I mean, when I met him for the first time, I couldn't imagine the kid was. When I met him, he was 14. It would be so good that he would beat me. I said, "What is this ridiculous?" So that hurt my ego a bit. Started working harder, and yeah. So thereafter, went and played in Hong Kong. Played the Asia Pacific again, Nomura Championship in Hong Kong, '97.
Okay.
Followed by '98 Eisenhower in Chile. Great times, great experience, great to play for the flag, and it's a matter of pride to be representing the flag. And they taught me a lot. And thanks to the Indian Golf Union, we got so much exposure all around the world, literally left, right, and center.
You also played the Asian Games, the 13th Asian Games. Which year was that?
1998 at Bangkok.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So what was that like?
Very narrowly missed out on a medal. And very narrowly missed out on a medal. I mean, I had a bad start to the tournament. The very fourth hole, I made a quadruple bogey, dropped 4 strokes. I still remember that. And I lost out to the medal right at the end by just 2 shots. So yeah, I remember we did well. I mean, as a team, we did well, and we finished 4th. So I still think with those couple of shots, probably could have got us a medal, individual as well as the team medal.
Okay. You also won the Sri Lankan Amateur twice, 97 and 98, back to back.
96 and 97.
96 and 97. Okay, what was was that your first win?
Yes. 96, I beat Pawan Pratap, another Indian player. Actually, I beat him in Nuwara Elia is the place. It's a hill station about 4.5 hours from Colombo. I think it was. I beat a couple of Pakistanis that year to get into the finals with Pawan. And Pawan at that time, I remember, was immaculate record, #1 sub-junior, #1 junior, and then he came out to the amateurs. So there was this aura was built around him, and I thought, my God, I'm in the final now. Now what? But luckily, I mean, things just fell into place, and he hit a couple of bad shots, I remember, and I ended up winning it. So it was good memories.
Yeah, it's fabulous. And that year you won several tournaments, right? Because you became the #1. That was 99 actually.
No, I became #1 99.
99, yes.
Yeah. In fact, towards the end of 98, I became #1.
And so, what prompted the decision to turn pro?
You find it funny. I mean, since I did not make it to the army, and I was very average in studies, so my dad said, "यार ये ना तो तू engineer." उस time 2 ही चीजें होती थी, 3 होती थी in fact: doctor, engineer या फौज. There was nothing else, right? I mean, being an army kid, I never thought about putting my head down into books and thinking about preparing for an IAS or something. So
I have to interrupt you here for a second.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we discussed with Mr. Vijay Lokapalli in the first interview when I asked him why he chose to become a sports journalist in the late 70s. When there were only 3 professions: engineer, doctor, and he said forge.
So he did.
Anyway, sorry.
There you go. There you go. So for me, army was #1 because I was not from a science background. So medical was out, and of course engineer also, because I was not from a science background. So that was out again. So army was the only thing. And since I could not join the army, now my dad said, "Tu ab karega kya?" So when you get to that crossroads in life and you say ki now what? So मैंने बोला कि we golf खेलते हैं, dad, देखते हैं क्या होता है. So he's like, चलो खेलता तो ठीक ठाक है, All right.
Mm.
So then I started playing, and I mean, turned professional. I remember, I think you were there. Were you when we had the
Yes,
qualifying
yes.
school at Jaipur? So
No, I wasn't at the Q school, but I
right,
was at your first tournament.
right. So I remember this was July '99.
Mhm.
Went down to Jaipur, and I was damn kicked. My father had just bought a new car, and he gave it to me. He says, "Go on, no problem, take the car." I was on top of the world there.
Mhm.
So drove there, played. I played well. I won the Q school that year, and
Oh,
so yeah, I won the Q school that year. And
that's nice.
also that was the year when I had taken my first lessons from an international coach, I'd say, Kel Llewellyn.
Mhm.
That June of '99, I took my first lessons with him at Delhi Golf Club, I remember. And July, I went for the Q school. I was
Mhm.
absolutely on top of the world. Went there and won it. I said, "My God, I found it. That's the key. I've got it." I think everybody gets to that stage in life where they think that they've got it. But that's the beauty of
Mhm.
the game. You think you've
Mhm.
got it, you lose it.
Mm. And then
But
you realize it's got you, right?
then you set out again to find it again. I mean,
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah.
yeah, that's the beauty of the sport.
So your first tournament was the Hindu Open in the sea. We used to have the Southern Swing first, right?
Correct,
Back then.
correct, correct.
So the Hindu Open was your first tournament at the
Right,
Cosmopolitan Golf Course,
right.
Chennai.
Yes, that's right.
What was it like going into that tournament first?
Uh,
And what was it like just before the night before the tournament? Did you sleep or did you not?
I had a very patchy sleep, because I would wake up again and again and think, what am I going to do on the first tee? And
Mhm.
how am I going to play the first hole? And how am I going to play the second and the third and so on and so forth? I mean, I was literally playing the entire golf course in my mind all night long. I would sleep
Mhm.
for a bit and then again wake up, and then I'd try to remember which hole was I on. So yeah, I mean, it was very interesting. And I remember I had sweaty palms first
Mhm.
on the first tee, and I think by the fourth or the fifth hole, the heartbeat had calmed down, and it became easier to swing the club.
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
most surprising part for me was, when you're an amateur, there's not a whole bunch of players that you're competing against. There are about 8, 10 guys who are good. But here,
Mhm.
when you turn professional, you see, my God, everybody's good enough.
Mhm.
I mean, somebody who you thought कि ठीक है तो देखेंगे क्या है. I mean, he would pull out shots that you haven't played. So
True. Mm.
that's where I realized that, like they say कि पांचों उंगली बराबर नहीं होती ना, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
somebody has an advantage over the other guy, be it driving, be it putting or chipping or bunker shots or something or the other. So
Okay.
yeah, so it was a learning experience more than anything else. It was a big learning experience.
So what was your first year like? How did you finish that first year?
Uh, uh, I did decently well.
Mhm.
I got my first win in my very first year. Uh,
Okay.
if you remember, the season then used to be from August till March, from
True.
August till
Yeah.
April
Yeah.
actually. Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
so I, because I was playing decent, I would say, I got an invite to play the my first tournament of the Asian Tour in March of 2000, which was my first year of my turning pro, and
Wow.
that was the Grohe Masters in
Mhm.
Bangkok, and I did well there. I finished eighth, and
Mhm.
I think that finish was really a boost for me, because I
Mhm.
came back from there directly. Came straight to Bombay and played this tournament, the BPGC, the fifth BPGC Open in Bombay, and I
Mhm.
was full of confidence. I tell you, I mean, because I did decently well there, I was really beaming with confidence, and ended up winning that week. So I remember that week, the golf course was not in a good shape. The fairways were overgrown because they'd had untimely rain, and they could not really cut the fairways low. So
Mhm.
everybody was catching flyers off the fairway. The ball you think it's going to go 80 yards, you take out a sandwich and hit it, suddenly go 90 yards or 95 yards,
Mhm.
or
Uh-huh.
remain at 60 yards. So it was very
Uh-huh.
uncertain that week. And
Okay.
and you remember the old BPGC greens? They were lightning quick.
I have to tell you something here. In my 9 years in Tiger Sports Marketing, I've never seen a Bombay golf course.
Don't tell me. How's
Not
that
even
possible?
once have I even stepped into a golf course in Bombay. I don't even know what they look like.
You don't like
Because we used
Bombay
to have
or
beats. No, no, I like Bombay. We used to have beats. So Joy used to do the
right?
Bombay thing, and later
Joy would do
Saeed did it.
Bombay. Kerwin would
Saeed,
do
uh, yeah.
the
My
eastern
beat was
leg.
very clear. Places like Big Boy,
Right,
Nepal. I
right.
wouldn't let go of that territory for
I,
sure.
I
You
think
know
you
why?
you 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 chose the greener and better areas. I think quieter
Yeah,
areas,
but
I
then
would say.
I had a
Isn't it?
lovely time, but
Right,
meeting you
right, right,
guys, spending
right,
those
right,
days. Sorry,
right,
sorry to
right.
interrupt. Carry on. And then you were
No, not at
saying,
all. So I remember that week going into the final round, I was I think six back, I think, and I was in the second last group, and so there were a couple of groups behind me. I posted a 66, which is a 4 under,
Mhm.
and I won by a shot. I never thought I was in the reckoning anywhere because I was 5 or 6 shots behind going into the final round, and
Okay.
somehow guys at the back didn't score as well, and I was lucky enough to walk away. I remember in the last hole, in the 18th hole, I had to make a four, had to make a birdie to win. I hit my second shot, a 6-iron on the left part of the green. I made a 40-footer, which ended up about 5 to 6 feet below the hole, and I hold that. I remember.
But were you aware then that that would have fetched you a win, or
I
were
I,
you
oh,
not?
I was only aware while playing that hole when I teed off from
Okay.
the 18th. I was told that आप abhi barabar ho is what the
Oh,
guy said.
wow.
आप
Okay.
tie में आगे हो, and
Hmm.
so luckily he told me after the tee shot, and I found the fairway with my tee shot. So yeah, that week I made 19 birdies and I dropped
Mhm.
18 strokes. That is probably the highest that tournament has ever gone as far as the score is concerned. 1 under was the winning score. You will
Oh,
never hear
God.
of that score. So you can imagine the kind of conditions we were actually playing in.
I
Because
know.
the year before that and the year thereafter, the winning score was anywhere between, in double figures, 10 under, 11 under, 12 under. So the
Wow.
course not that, not in a great shape that week.
Okay. And prior to that, the experience in Asia, what was it like and time? How was it different from the Indian tour?
Uh, um, that was my first pro tournament also,
On the
outside the
Asian tour?
country, outside the
Okay.
country. Yeah, yeah. And uh, it wasn't, it didn't bother me much
Mhm.
because, somewhere when you know that there is a better player than you, or you know that you're playing with a player who's far more accomplished than you, it does play on your mind a bit till you actually start playing. But then
Mhm.
here I didn't know anybody. I mean, there were new faces. It was a clean slate, fresh start. And for company, I remember there was Jyoti, there was Arjun Atwal, there was Uttam Singh Mandi, Amandeep Johal. These guys were there, so I was slowly getting easy with all of them, and
Mhm.
so I remember. I think Uttam told me, he says you still have to do the same thing. You still have to swing that club. So
Mhm.
there's no difference at all. And Jyoti and I were rooming together, and I remember we stayed at Novotel Bangna. I went mad with the bloody Thai food. It was so good. So yeah, I mean, Jyoti was very comforting. He did mentor me a lot
Mhm.
on how to think on the golf course, and of course because he's had a far more illustrious career, and he had a
Mhm.
head start on me. He's a far more accomplished golfer at that time.
Mhm.
So it was good to get, because he turned professional in '94, and
Mhm.
so he already had 5-6 years of experience over me.
Head start,
So
yeah.
yeah, so he was good with me. I mean, he helped me out a lot.
Your other big win was the SRF All India Match Play Championship. It was in 2003-4, right? The 3-4
Yes, that's
season.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's
At the
right.
DGC?
At the DGC. At
Yeah.
the DGC.
And you had an amazing run. You beat Gaurav Bhai in the pre-quarterfinals, Sanjay Kumar in the
Yeah.
semi-finals, in the quarterfinals,
Quarters.
Vijay Kumar in the semi-finals, and then you went on to play, of all the people, Juman.
Yeah, and Juman was a bit of a surprise in the finals, yes, but he was playing excellent golf that week, which
Mhm.
he proved over the next 36 holes when I played the finals with him. And
Mhm.
frankly, when I beat Vijay, and before that when I beat Gaurav, because Gaurav at that time was on his peak, he was playing
Yeah.
brilliant golf, and Delhi Golf Club he was a demon.
Yeah. So how did
So
that match go? How did that match go?
oh, what a phenomenal match! I mean, both of us birdied the 18th hole to get into playoff. We were all square standing on the 17th. We birdied the 18th. Then we went into playoff. Both of us birdied the first hole. Then getting on the second, we both hit it to 5 feet. I remember the flag was bottom right. We both hit it to 5 feet and both missed it. And I was thinking to myself, well, listen, Diggy, this is the only opportunity you have. So I got ahead of myself, and instead of playing the game, I was playing Gaurav Ghai. That is what was wrong. And luckily, on the very next tee shot, which is a bit of an intimate. We halved it. Yeah, we halved it. So 18th was halved with birdies. First was halved with birdies. Second was missed birdies by both of us within 5-6 feet of each other. And so went on to the third hole now. I remember I used to have this PRGR 2 iron, a really beautiful driving iron, a Japanese club. And the third has always been a bit of a thinking hole for me in Delhi Golf Club because there is trouble on the left. And if you leak it out onto the right, the ball is out in not in the jungle, but you don't have a clear shot with the trees hanging on the right. And I remember I absolutely hit a peach of a golf shot with that with that Zoom 2 iron, PRGR Zoom. And it went way past the trees. I remember I really killed it. And I hit my second shot to about 7-8 feet right of the hole. And Gaurav was about 15 odd feet. He 2-putted and I hold that putter. So I won with a birdie, and I tell you, it was one hell of a feeling. I mean, I can imagine. For me, I had won the tournament in my own mind. I'd won the tournament when I beat Gaurav. For me, that was an achievement to beat Gaurav at that time. And the next day I played Vijay Kumar. I think
Sanjay, you played Sanjay next day.
Sorry.
Because Vijay played in the semis.
Yeah, correct. So Sanjay, I was driving the ball really well. I remember I told Sanjay on the 14th hole, which is a par 5 at Delhi Golf Club, I hit I don't do that now, but I was doing it that time. Somehow or the other, I was really riding high on my confidence with the driver. And I remember I hit a driver with a slight cut, stood in the left rough, hit a slight cut in the middle of the fairway, hit my 7-iron second shot, and I hit it really close. From when we were walking up, I could make out that it's close. And he came up. His third shot was just on the green, and the flag was about 35-40 feet from where he was. And I told him to pick up the ball. So I gave him a birdie from about 40 feet because I hit my second shot to about 1.5 feet for an eagle.
Okay.
So, I mean, I was really high on confidence that week, especially because I played and beat Gaurav. So that actually fed confidence for the next few rounds. And so I beat him, and then Vijay Kumar, I think on the 16th.
Who was also at his peak back then.
Oh, yeah. Vijay Kumar was absolutely forced to reckon with that time. He won the Indian Open in 2002, and he was a top 3 player in literally every single tournament that time. Top 3, top 4 in every single tournament. So that was a morale booster. And then when I beat these guys, I thought, Jumman, I'll take Jumman. Jumman is not a problem. It should be a cakewalk. And to my dismay, I after 18 holes, I was only 1 up. I said, my God, I better pull up my socks. What's going to happen?
So what was Jumman doing? What was Jumman doing?
Jumman was phenomenal. Jumman was so straight off the tee that he would not find any bush at all. And I found the bush on a couple of occasions. And that's when I realized that I have to, this is match play, and I have to play only my opponent. I don't have to try and play my best. So let's not try any heroics, and let's just try and hit the ball slightly shorter than him. So that actually worked well. I mean, so I would, because I'd try and hit the ball a little shorter than him, I would hit my second shot before him, right? And if I hit the ball close or somewhere around the flag, the pressure is on the guy who hits next. So that worked in my favor in the back in the second 18. At that time, it used to be 36 holes the same day. I remember it was all end of April, if not beginning May. It was hot and it was hot, and it was absolutely about 45 degrees of temperature, and we were the only 2 idiots out on the golf course.
No, there was us also.
I mean, of course, you guys were there.
We weren't playing.
And I finally beat him on the last hole, I think. Yeah, I think I beat him 2-up on the last hole. I was 1-up playing the 18th, and I just took out my 3-iron, hit it down the fairway, hit a 6-iron second shot, hit a pitching wedge or sandwich into the green, and then I told him, I said, Juman, you really, you really made me fight for it. So
that's great.
Juman played really well. He was very good around the greens. So that's when I, I'll go back to the statement that I made earlier. It was when you get to the professional ranks, you realize that, there are guys who are better players than you. I mean, you come out of the amateur ranks and you are thinking about swinging and all this. You see all sorts of wonky swings on the professional tour, but they know how to score. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. You got to put the ball in the hole in the least number of shots. Nobody cares.
Exactly.
The scoreboard is not going to ask you, and the scorecard is not going to ask you how you did it. The scorecard will always ask you what you did. What did you make?
It's like Jeev Milkha Singh's swing. It's unconventional, but look at him.
My God! Oh, what a player, man! But he is strong up here, so that goes in his favor. Like Lee Trevino, Jim Furyk, for that matter. I mean, I don't want to emulate those swings at all, but I would die for the scores and the victories they have.